OTB, the guys mentioned this earlier today. LSU's not made it official, but Jordy and T-Bob reported this morning that Bennie Logan is joining LSU's staff as a defensive analyst. So Bennie, who of course played on the 2011 team and 2012, was drafted in the third round of the 2013 draft out of LSU, went to the Eagles, had a really nice career in the NFL, playing for the Eagles and the Chiefs, and then most recently with the Titans. But apparently his NFL career is over, and he's going to do what a lot of other guys have done and now join LSU in a support staff role. We talked so much in this offseason about LSU losing Dave Aranda, Joe Brady. Certainly George Munoz is one of the guys that LSU lost that was significant in an analyst role. But when you look at on the defensive side of the ball, what LSU lost in their support staff, Roy Anderson went to the Vikings. Kevin Cosgrove went to Texas Tech. Donald DeLacio, he came to LSU. Dennis Johnson went to Baylor. And then Kenichi Udeze went to Vanderbilt. And Ronnie Wheat went to Nevada. So Roy Anderson, Kevin Cosgrove, Dennis Johnson, Kenichi Udeze, and Ronnie Wheat. You had 5 defensive support staff members from last year's squad leave for full-time on-field jobs this year. 5. Remember, LSU had 12 analysts last year. So half of your defensive analysts essentially left. And that's the price of success. It happens. You're thrilled for those guys to go get great opportunities. Don't misunderstand me. But there was a big challenge that Ed Orgeron had to replenish his support staff. So Bo Pelini brought Donald DeLacio. I hope I'm saying it right. He was the defensive coordinator for Bo at Youngstown State, so he's here in a support staff role. And they've also now added Bennie Logan. And if you missed this yesterday, we didn't talk about it on the show, but Andy Staples tweeted that yesterday that LSU has added Damian Lewis. If you don't remember Damian Lewis, he played at the University of Miami. He was the 12th overall pick in the 2001 draft. So he was on that 2000 Miami team that won the Sugar Bowl. It blew out Florida, if you remember. Then the next year, of course, they lost, I think, in week 1 or week 2 that season to Washington, and then never lost again for like 3 years until they lost the national championship game to Ohio State. But anyway, Andy Staples tweeted yesterday that LSU's hired Damian Lewis as an analyst to work with the defensive line. The former Miami lineman was working at FIU as the assistant AD in charge of player development. That's what Staples tweeted yesterday. Oh, Paul, do you have this? No? Okay. So if you look at Damian Lewis, Donald DeLacio, and then now Bennie Logan, that's 3 defensive analysts added to the staff. One thing that I've heard a lot from people is, of course, Kevin Falk's been promoted. Kelvin Shepard was added as director of player development. Christian Lockature is on staff as a GA. Now you're bringing in Bennie Logan. There are reports that Eddie Kennison is joining the staff as well in an off-field role, which should be announced later this week. A lot of people are going, why are you just hiring former players? I'll say this as from a couple of different angles. I would be more concerned if you had a limited staff and you were only hiring former players in on-field roles. When you have 10 full-time assistant staff members, and if you were hiring all former players, that would be concerning. But when you can hire an unlimited number of support staff members as long as you're willing to pay them, great. And if it happens to be former players, I'm good with that. You provide them a launching point in their career for guys like Lockature. It's what Dennis Johnson was doing. And that's not uncommon at all to provide those guys that launching point. And then when you look at guys who have experience, who have, like, you're Bennie Logan, you played in the SEC, you played 7 years of professional football, in the NFL, you're young enough to relate to the current players, and you have enough experience having played at LSU and in the NFL that they're to have been where they want to go. Like, I'm good with that. Like, as long as you're adding guys who can provide value, okay, I have no problem with it at all. And those guys are going to work hard because of their love for LSU, and you keep synergy within your program connecting the past to the present. So I'm all for it, man. I love having these former guys around. I love having Kelvin Shepard and Kevin Falk and Eddie Kennison and Bennie Logan and Corey Raymond and Steve Ensminger. I love having them around the program. I think it's spectacular. I mean, one of the best things Ed did when he got the interim job was started the Tiger Walk, and he just welcomed all the former players back into the program. So a lot of whom from different eras who felt kind of neglected. Not anymore. So I'm all for it, man. So congrats to Bennie Logan, who, according to OTB, it's not been officially released by LSU, but off the bench reported this morning that Bennie Logan's going to join LSU staff as a defensive line analyst.